Hey guys, what's up? Richard here, back with Cosmic Human Design, and we are on Hexagram 38 today, going through the I Ching Oracle, the Cosmic Way hexagrams, the definitive version of all the hexagrams. And this is critical information in general for the world, but especially for human design and gene keys, and if you're into all that kind of stuff. Then it's critical that you watch these videos here. So let's begin. Hexagram 38, which is opposition or separating, as it's termed here. And that's Li over Tui, fire over lake, fire over the lake. The judgment, separating in small matters, success. I love some of these judgments. Like, what does that mean? Well, in this hexagram, the sage shows us the law of fate as that which brings humans back into unity with the cosmic whole after having separated from it by obstinately following the ego. So this hexagram is about fate and separating. The name of this hexagram, Kui, means obstinately going one's own way. It has thus been translated as opposition, disobedience, and as polarizing. The sage uses the term to show that defining things in terms of good and evil is one of the main sources both of opposition and of the parallel reality. The response of the cosmic consciousness to opposition is always to retreat. Its retreat is what the I Ching calls misfortune or fate. For when humans exclude themselves from the cosmic unity, they also exclude themselves from its protection and help and create the parallel reality. Outside the cosmic unity, their wrong acts have a circular trajectory like that of a boomerang, which ultimately returns the harmful consequences of their deeds to their source. The parallel reality occurs when people step outside the cosmic reality, which is characterized by harmony. The retreat of the cosmic consciousness also sets in motion the helpers of nature, which act as arms of fate to restore cosmic harmony. This hexagram also shows the mistaken ideas that have caused humans to separate from their original unity with the cosmic family. This separation occurs when humans set themselves up as special and see themselves as the center around which everything else revolves. By entertaining this exaggerated view of themselves, they violate the cosmic principles of harmony, of equality and uniqueness of all parts of the cosmic whole. By the way, when I asked the I Ching what the tarot was, very interestingly, it gave me this hexagram. And there's a cool little story about that. Because at first I was actually throwing the coins wrongly. I was miscalculating which, ones were the solid versus the dash lines. I was doing it kind of my own way instead of the quote-unquote official way, but still before and after that, it gave me the same hexagram on both occasions for the tarot. So, that's just kind of an example of how the I Ching is communicating, interfacing through our consciousness. It's not like, I don't know, some mechanical thing. But anyways, that line we just read about humans seeing themselves as special and as the center of the universe really is one of the key ideas in tarot. If you read the tarot philosophy or whatnot, all these esoteric things, that one of the big ideas is that humans, our destiny really is to help raise the consciousness of all the other, like the plants, the rocks, the animals. Tarot, the lore, it views this as a hierarchy. So I think that's kind of what the I Ching was getting at when it told me the tarot was a form of opposition, of separating, because a lot of the core ideas are similar between tarot and within tarot and the I Ching, and other than the seeing humans as special. So I just thought that was interesting. Anyways, this hexagram shows that it is not the cosmos that expels a person from its unity, but that it is the person himself who separates from the cosmos by adopting ideas and beliefs that are not in accord with his true place in the cosmic whole. The separation that these mistaken ideas and beliefs create has the consequence of depriving the individual of the help that is available from the invisible world to anyone who brings himself into harmony with the whole. Feeling thus abandoned, people have then drawn the false conclusion that they are born into this life without any help from the cosmos. By seeing themselves as expelled from the cosmic unity, they then believe that the fault lies not in their mistaken ideas, but in their natures and in the nature of the cosmos itself as harsh. Every single person can reunite with the cosmos and thereby bring duration to his life. In small matters, success makes the person who feels alone and abandoned aware that his separation from the cosmos is neither eternal nor the endless abyss he imagines it to be. From the cosmic perspective, to reunite with it is a small matter, in that he only needs to rid himself of the spells that have caused his separation. Small also refers to the fact that the reunification occurs through transformation in the realm of the atom. To begin reunification, a person first needs to free himself of his mistaken ideas that the cosmos is hostile, that he has been expelled from it and abandoned, and that an abyss separates him from it. These images are poison arrows. These images are poison arrows because they affect consciousness. It's invisible, but it's affecting consciousness. He then needs to rid himself of the spells that are based on seed phrases and images that revolve around humans being special and being at the center of the universe. In still another way, this hexagram concerns the person who sees another as his opponent, or as potentially so. Doing so puts a spell on him, which activates the ego and the opposition he imagines. For the remedy, see line 1. On the smaller scale, this hexagram concerns the person who regards one part of himself as special and more important than another, such as the singer his voice, the dancer his legs, the pianist his hands, the scientist his forebrain, etc., making anything special as the effect of excluding it from cosmic protection and help. Wow, making anything special has the effect of excluding it from cosmic protection and help. Wow. In matters of health, the helpers of self-healing cannot function in healing the part that has been singled out as special. For seeing it as special places a projection and poison arrow on that part. It also singles that part out for attack in the form of poison arrows, envious comparisons, projections, and spells from others. To remedy the situation, the person needs to free himself from his wrong idea. This also applies to animals, plants, and objects a person has singled out as special. This hexagram also concerns the mistaken idea that the cosmos is in opposition to the humans who disturb its harmony. As is shown in many hexagrams, the cosmos only functions through the force of attraction between complements. It is not the cosmos which sets itself up in opposition to anything, but the reverse. It is people who have set themselves up as special, thereby competing with and putting themselves in opposition to the cosmic order. The idea of humans being special over the whole of nature due to their ability to use language is the origin of the collective ego and is the basis for the human-centered view of the universe. Opposition, therefore, is inherent in every idea created by the collective ego and is apparent in the way the collective ego defines itself and its objectives. Examples are the human search for glory and honor, whether that be individual or cultural, the idea of humans conquering nature, the human aspiration for power, and human identification with what is perceived as powerful, the idea that humans are capable of making correct judgments based on outer appearances, the presumption that human law is the equivalent of cosmic law, the idea that good and evil are parts of the cosmic whole, making it look as if the cosmos is divided into opposite forces, and the idea that humans are meant to dominate the earth and sky. A person caught in the parallel reality creates fate after fate for himself. To escape these fates, he jumps from one extreme to the other, as for example, from one belief to another, or one policy to another, without getting to the root of the problem, which lies in viewing himself as special. This view keeps him trapped within the ego's system of opposites, which make him incorrectly believe that the fates he experiences have occurred, quote, because the cosmos is opposed to him. This hexagram informs him of the true nature of his problem and how he can be lifted out of the parallel reality and thereby end his fate. Line 1, remorse disappears. If you lose your horse, do not run after it. It will come back of its own accord. When you see evil people, guard yourself against mistakes. Remorse disappears is saying that the difficulty a person is having with another will cease if he stops looking at the other as his opponent. Seeing him as his opponent only strengthens the ego in the other. To remedy this situation, he needs to stop seeing the other as evil and free him from the blame spell he's put on him. He then asks the sage in his own presence to communicate with the sage in the other person's presence. Doing this will transform the situation. In this way, every situation of opposition can be corrected, regardless of how evil a person may have viewed another beforehand. Thus, the line can also read, when you see people as evil, guard yourself against the mistake of fixing them as evil. This way of relating is not to be confused either with fighting the other or running after his approval, either of which would be a throwaway of self. In following the above advice, the sage actually takes over one's own and the other's personality, enabling a success that cannot be achieved by any other means. Both people will find their actions astonishing and amazingly harmonious. When you see evil people, guard yourself can also be counsel to the person who has experienced these results to be aware that the ego in himself may try to seize upon this way of relating as a technique it can employ to control others or to credit itself with being able to achieve miracles. Allowing such a thing would destroy the good effect achieved and create a fate. This line can also refers to the first two spells humans have put on themselves, by which the process of their separation from the cosmic whole began. This was the beginning of the remorse mentioned that has afflicted humans ever since. The first spell occurred when they put themselves up over the rest of nature especially. The second was placed on their animal nature when they saw it as the source of evil. Losing one's horse is a metaphor for a person's inner senses getting lost due to the latter spell. The consequence is that he has lost his common sense. It is a person's common sense that discerns what feels harmonious and what does not. That's when he's confronted with dangerous situations due to the egos in others. A person can free his common sense by taking away the mistaken ideas that have formed the spells. In addition to the spells created by seeing himself as special and his animal nature as evil, he needs to free himself from all ideas that divide his nature into higher and lower, good and evil parts. Such false divisions not only block his common sense, they prevent his wholeness and create numerous other problems in his psyche. Do not run after it is advice telling him that his unity with the cosmic whole cannot be regained by trying to buy it. It will come back of its own accord is saying that in lieu of removing the spells, which would also end his fate, fate itself will act to bring him back to his senses. When you see evil people, in this instance, refers to mistaken beliefs put forward by the collective ego that specify how to deal with remorse to make it disappear, that he can buy or earn redemption as by giving up his worldly goods, doing good deeds, sacrificing his life or part of it, or making pacts to perform something in the future. The correct way to end his remorse is to take away the mistaken ideas and beliefs that have caused his separation. The horse can also be a metaphor for the trust and confidence that is manifest in the form of an interconnection with the person. However, the interconnection has now become blocked because one of the partners has put a projection on the other, causing the loss of his confidence. He may have projected, for example, that his friend has to go through difficult experiences in order to learn. The projection has not only caused the loss of confidence, but has also caused his friend to suffer the difficulties projected. On seeing that he has lost the other's confidence, he might run after him to gain it back, but this will achieve nothing unless he removes the projection itself. It's all about the projections, the spells, the poison arrows, the invisible reality. Line 2, one meets his Lord in a narrow street, no blame. Meeting one's Lord in a narrow street refers to inner truth that has revealed itself in meditations or dreams. The fact that his inner truth is communicating with him in this way indicates that his inner senses that would normally protect him from or alert him to a danger are blocked by a spell. As a consequence, the function of those senses has been taken over by his helpers of inner truth. They can communicate in ways that the ego cannot decipher or block through the venues of dreams and meditation, which the senses that function normally can interpret. Using the RTCM will help the person bring these realizations into full consciousness. No blame is saying that the person can avoid incurring blame if he will now make an effort to understand these expressions of his inner truth. Meeting one's Lord in a narrow street can also refer to learning something through an unusual experience. An example is seeing 3 coins lying on the ground to answer an inner question. I wonder what that's talking about. Or an insight that comes through an accident, a near-death experience, or during a fever or like incident. Line 3, one sees the wagon dragged back, the oxen halted, a man's hair and nose cut off, not a good beginning, but a good end. The wagon and oxen are metaphors for the cosmic transportation by which a person is taken to his destiny, which is to fulfill his true nature. The wagon refers to his feelings and the oxen to his common sense. As inner helpers, they are those meant to transport him along his path. The wagons being dragged back and the oxen halted refers to his progress being brought to a halt by fate, with unpleasant things happening, the purpose of which he does not understand. His hair and nose cut off refers to his feeling of having gone a long way in a wrong direction, wasting all his energy and time. The fate he is experiencing will bring him back to his senses. As mentioned in the main text, the idea is that he is special, that he has special rights and privileges, and that he knows best, have put spells on his common sense, separating him from the cosmic whole and from his feelings. Such a person is one who, in seeking his love partner, goes only by appearances, thinking he knows best what kind of person best suits him. However, it is really the helpers of the invisible world who, knowing the inner truth, can help him find the right person for him, the one he needs to help free his imprisoned true self. He needs to free himself from the spell created by the phrase, "I know what is best for me." The wagon drawn by the oxen can also be a metaphor for the protection a person gets when his thinking mind and his intuitive mind cooperate with his common sense. He receives protection because his common sense tells him to say the inner no when something feels discordant, and the inner yes when it feels harmonious. Saying the inner no protects him by transforming the dangerous situations. Wow. Whoever thought a word could be so, I don't want to say powerful, but powerful. Yeah. This line can also refer to the mistaken view that death is the end, the opposite of life. Holding such a view separates a person from his unity with the cosmos and therefore creates a fate. He can end this fate by freeing himself from his mistaken view of death, which is a poison arrow. Not a good beginning, but a good end refers to the fact that all fates can be ended by freeing oneself of the mistaken ideas and beliefs that have created them. This line makes us aware that there is no such thing as an inevitable bad end. Line 4, isolated through separating. One meets a like-minded man with whom one can associate in good faith. Danger. A person who has become isolated from the cosmic helpers due to having separated from the cosmic whole has met someone, or the I Ching, who acts as a signpost, pointing him to the sage as the correct source of help to free him from the spells or fate in which he has become caught. There is no problem so long as he remains faithful to what feels harmonious and consistently rejects what feels discordant. This line assures him that he can follow these two feelings in good faith because they tell him what is trustworthy. The danger mentioned comes from belief systems that offer him ready-made paths already trodden by others. He may be attracted to these, thinking they are like-minded, sharing his existing views. What these belief systems have in common, however, is the ready-made mold they have spelled out, into which the individual is expected to fit himself. Doing so stifles his uniqueness and creates blame. The blame resides in his losing his personal relationship with the cosmos. This line is saying to a person who is experiencing a fate that he can reunite with the cosmic whole at any given time. First, however, he must recognize that his pride, the ego, is the danger standing in the way, keeping him from asking for help. If he will recognize that the ego has a vested interest in keeping him isolated from the sage and discredit the ego's influence through saying the inner no to it, he will be able to see the sage as a like-minded man and obtain its help. Line 5, remorse disappears. The companion bites his way through the wrappings. If one goes to him, how could it be a mistake? The companion mentioned in this line is the sage, whom the person has regarded with suspicion, or whom he has blamed for the fate he himself has created. The wrappings are the false names, i.e. culprit, or e.g. culprit, and misidentifications, e.g. evil influence, that the person has put on the sage. The words biting through refer to the sage saying no to these false names. If the person will recognize his mistake and also say the inner no to the false names he has given the sage, his mistake will be corrected. This line can also refer to a person who is blaming his body for an illness he's experiencing. In reality, his body, the companion, only wants to give him a message that he needs to free it from mistaken ideas and beliefs about his animal nature, as mentioned in line 1. A person can also receive this line when he has seen someone else as an opponent or as evil. He can bite through these wrappings if he follows the counsel given in line 1. Line 6, isolated through separating, through seeing one's companion as a pig covered with dirt and as a wagon full of devils. First one has drawn a bow against him, then one has laid the bow aside. He is not a robber, he will woo at the right time. As one goes, rain falls, good fortune. Here the person who has been isolated through blaming the sage recognizes his mistake and sees that the fate he has incurred is due to seeing nature, including his own nature, as the source of evil. He lays the bow aside refers to his ceasing to demonize his life on earth as something he must transcend and leave behind. He still needs, however, to remove the 2 spells mentioned in line 1, seeing himself as special and seeing his animal nature as a source of evil. The robber refers to seeing death as the robber of life and as something to be feared. This line is stating that the end of life in its bodily form is not death in the sense of the end of life, the wagon full of devils, but a transformation of consciousness into a new life form, here referred to as the rain. Transformation is not a robber of life, but the stepping into a new invisible form and consciousness. This transformation is the gift of the cosmos referred to in the line as good fortune. As one goes, rain falls, good fortune. Awesome. All right, thank you guys very much for watching and listening. Don't forget to like and subscribe right there, and I'll see you guys in the next one.